I want to invite Dr. Bedekar ji here. And Dr. Bedekar is a widely traveled teacher. He has taught in Europe, he has taught in various countries actually, not just one country. And we are really proud and privileged to have him amongst us. And I explained to Dr. Bedekar ji, I said, the only challenge is that sometimes we know too much and we have to like really simplify it. So you just saw how simplified I made it. So we just, Dr. Bedekar ji will introduce to you as to why in our day-to-day life, now this is not relating just with this season, although in this season due to dryness, constipation can increase, but we are just, in general, we had taken a feedback from some people on what kind of topics we should include, and it seems like constipation, insomnia, these are some of the common banes of the community around us. So I think a discussion so that we can prevent constipation. We are not trying to solve it, that can only be done in our free clinic, but we can try to prevent it, yes? So Bedekar ji, please.
Namaste to you all. As Shunya ji has introduced me, I had opportunities to be in Israel and discuss with Orthodox Jews. I had been with corn eaters in Johannesburg, South Africa. I used to be in UK just prior to Christmas, and now I am here with you people. Before I proceed, I would like to know two things from you, and feel free to interact. First is whether your pets have got constipation in the history. Whether the pet animals do get constipation. That is question number one. And question number two is, all of you know motorbikes, and I hope most of you know the silencer part of it. Right? Everybody knows it? So just imagine that if the silencer of a motorbike is blocked, what will happen? And with this, I hope most of you got the point what I mean to say. So what I mean to say is I am here to represent Ayurveda, but thanks from my bottom of heart to Shunya ji, because she has comprehensively covered right from sun and moon power up to the coconut and even some of the Chinese herbs which I don't even know. What Ayurveda believes is spiritualism is the supreme science, and there are many other aspects called as different Indian sciences, like Jyotish is one of it, astrology, yoga one of the aspects, Ayurveda is another one, and I am here to represent Ayurveda, that is the life science. Now that's why I started with the pet animals. Please correct me if I am wrong, and please feel free to even interfere me and say no, you are not right. But to my knowledge, human being is one of the very few species, let us pray not the only species of this globe who has constipation. Why? Because for sure there must be something wrong with our lifestyle, right?
Yes.
And that's why I said I am here to represent Ayurveda. Ayurveda is life science, and what the life teaches us, ideally speaking, is life is nature. So we should be close to nature, and we should develop our senses to know what the nature is saying to us. As Shunya ji has already explained, in the Grishma season, that is the summer, there are two key words, two key messages the nature is giving us. One is dryness, extreme dryness. If you are keen observers, you can even see the dryness in the soil. It's a matter of our keenness, whether we observe soil, whether we observe animals, whether we observe leaves of the plants, etc. So extreme dryness is one message the nature is giving us, and of course heat is the second message the nature is giving us. And keeping these two messages in mind, we have to adjust our lifestyle, we have to adjust our diet, and we have to try to overcome constipation or prevent constipation. Now I'll tell you the secret. When I was laughing, Shunya ji mentioned that Mandar ji is laughing. as Shunyaji knows already, I was not laughing about what she was saying. Of course, I was laughing because I was, you can say, visualizing n number of patients I have seen in my last more than 15 years of clinical practice. When patients do come to us in any season, but presently we are discussing about summer season, their question is what to eat. And in case of summer season, I used to say that it is not a season to eat, it is a season of heat. Then I used to say that let us concentrate on what nature is saying to us. Nature is saying that this is a season to sweat, to perspirate. Right? Now we are here in a very advanced world. Almost everybody is having air conditioners fit in your bedrooms, in your offices, in your cars, and they are not allowing us to perspirate, right? So one of the outlet of our body which throws out what we call as malas in Ayurveda, you can call them wastes or you can temporarily call them toxins before you become Vedika students in future. So let us call them toxins for a couple of minutes. The bad part, the unwanted part, unwanted elements of the body, the nature wants us to throw out and we are blocking them. Number one, the nature is continuously saying to us that it is heat. The sun is trying to suck ourselves and we are not listening to the message of the nature, and that's why only human beings, hopefully you will agree now, only human beings we get constipation. Now we are here to know more about life. We are curious to know about life. What about animals and birds? You are fortunate to be here at Vedika so that you can get the divine message through Shunyaji's speeches, through our other faculties. What about animals and birds? Do they have a chance to go to some school, internet access, library? And then they don't need any physician, right? They don't need any super specialist. And they don't need any pill which most of us are looking for to treat or to cure their constipation. Why? Because they are listening to the nature's message. First of all, nature's first message as far as this season is concerned is our hunger goes down, our appetite goes down. But we consider ourselves smarter than nature, so we don't think that our appetite has gone down. Now many ladies I can see here, they know it better. We don't think that the appetite has gone down, we think that this particular stuff is not tasting well. Right? So we tend to shift from one food item to the other food item. But actually the message is you are not able to digest what you are eating. And if you keep on loading your bellies, your stomachs, by the food which you are not capable to digest, it will slowly lead to constipation. This is first part. Why do we get constipated? Second part is dryness, which is the key word for Grishma season. If we don't overcome this dryness, there are various modes quoted in Ayurveda. I will try to simplify them. We will never come out of constipation. Most of the dietary stuff, Shunyaji has already mentioned that we should try to avoid dry food, etc. What about dryness of mind? Means of course we should believe and we should try to follow all what Shunyaji has said, but what about dryness of mind? If we are stressed, if we keep on exhausting ourselves, if we don't listen to the message of our body that you are tired, you need to have rest, the immediate signal is we become restless. Right? From rest to restless, again is the message of this season. But instead of resting, we get engaged in some other thing. We keep on exhausting ourselves. And that's why we keep on drying ourselves more and more. Because of excessive drying, our wastes, particularly the fecal matter, the outcome of the food digestion, becomes more and more dried, and we find it very difficult to pass it out. So in general, this is the simplified version of what constipation is. Now as I said, people are smarter than nature. They try to be smarter than nature. So they don't try to adjust their food or their lifestyle. They straight away go to, I don't know whether over-the-counter sale is allowed there in
It
US.
is allowed.
If it is allowed, then people are, like in India and many other countries, people are prone to make sins, right? Instead of adjusting their food, or lifestyle, they straight away go to the counter, over the counter sale, demand for some medicine. They just swallow it and they think that I have done enough for my body. But the problem is the machinery needs to be serviced for, not repaired, not temporarily repairing. The machinery needs to be serviced for, and Ayurveda has meticulously described 5 tools to do servicing, which are collectively called as Panchakarma. But the problem in Grishma season, problem in summer season is we are not allowed to undergo any of these 5 detoxification processes. So it becomes more difficult to face the summer season. So we have to just face the dryness and the heat of the nature by simple changes in our dietary stuff, like what Soumyaji has already included, from very hot and spicy stuff in the kitchen to less hot or preferably cold by potency spices, from dry ones to anxious ones. Do you know anxious? Sticky, or we can call it oily, but anxious. And this is how we can overcome what is happening in the summer season. Now we at Vedika of course prefer no meat, no alcohol in our lifestyle, but it will take time for all of you to follow this lifestyle. So those who are already having meat items, they should be aware that this season doesn't allow us to eat meat or eat heavy meat, very heavy to digest meat, simply because in Ayurvedic language, in Ayurvedic terminology, I will say what the divine message is, and then we'll try to translate if you are not very comfortable with it. We believe that the eternal power or the fire outside stays within everybody of us. Every living individual has a representation of the outside energy, what we call as fire, the digestive fire. Now, as everybody is aware of, in the summer season, we tend to perspirate a lot, right? That means the fire has many other outlets. The fire tends to go out through perspiration, heat goes out. So obviously you can even put it in a mathematical way, because according to Indian wisdom, all sciences are actually one. We speak in different languages. So if most part of our heat within, that is the digestive fire, is being thrown out through the perspiration, who will digest the food inside? This is a question to all of you, and I am a student. Because if you mean to say that even if I perspirate a lot, I will keep on eating pork, I will keep on eating beef, or even if I am vegetarian, I will keep on eating big Indian laddus, very heavy to digest stuff, and I will be able to digest it. Do you know what will happen? You can straight away claim for a patent, intellectual property rights. Why? Because you indirectly you are saying that even if my energy is going out, I can create energy to digest this heavy stuff. Anybody wants to still claim that I can still digest heavy food items in the summer season? If it is making some sense to you, then please try to look into the message, the divine message, which is a gift of India, what we call as Ayurveda. This is the life science, so it covers almost every aspect of life. But if we keep on detaching ourselves from nature, we will never know the message of nature. Instead, if we believe in a simple statement, in a simple fact that we are miniatures of nature, I think the things will be simplified. Because the nature keeps on changing. It's all cyclic. And the nature keeps on changing, having different manifestations of the 3 basic powers, the sun power, the moon power, and the wind power. So there are obvious changes in the nature, and we must respond to the changes in the nature. That's what Ayurveda believes. Like in summer season, the sun power is strong, it's very hot, worsened by excessive dryness of the wind power. And we have to continuously, not as per our convenience, right? We have to continuously counteract or try to nullify these 2 qualities or these 2 conditions the nature has. So this will be one way to treat constipation. Of course, it will be too technical if I discuss too many medicines, but just to take it forth, what Soumyaji has already started with, coconut. most of you must have an idea that coconut is a religious fruit, considered as religious fruit and offered in many religious ceremonies. Do you know why? Because actually it's a gift of nature for our life. Coconut represents our head. Coconut represents the unctuousness, the exactly opposite quality to the dryness. So if we really want to counteract with the dryness, what Shunya just said, coconut will be one, and there will be many anxious medicines, many cold medicines, starting from minor changes in our lifestyle, in our diet pattern, up to the major or bigger lifestyle changes and diet changes. We can try to overcome constipation. For example, the water which we drink acts as a medicine for us. Are we aware of, are we serious about the water which we drink? Probably not. When we are perspirating a lot, means we are throwing considerable amount of water out of our body, we have to be keen of the water coming into our body, that is consumption of water. Because ideally the food has to be liquid in this season, which water suffices this condition. Water is a liquid, good, but water is opposite the digestive fire, right? So if we keep on drinking water without caring for what we are doing, it will be probably a wrong step. So the water even has to be medicated, and that's why Shunyaji had added that earthen pots nowadays they are available. For example, if we have 3 or 4 options, we have water kept in earthen pot, number 1 option, water kept in refrigerator, and water in further cooling, more cooling than the refrigerator. What will happen is, cooler the water, it is more dangerous for our digestive fire. That means on one hand our digestive fire has already gone down, and on other hand we are having too cold water or any other cold food item which will tend to kill our digestive fire. Okay, so the water should be less cold, not very cold, number 1, preferably from earthen pot or processed with some of the Ayurvedic herbs, which will be too technical to discuss right now. But we can have processed water, we can have processed food, we can have milk, because milk suffices most of the needs of this season. Milk is liquid, milk is cooling, milk is snigdha, that is anxious. The only opposite quality is it is guru, difficult, a bit difficult to digest. But there are different options which we can get when you visit malls, right? So less milk having less proportion of cream, I don't know what do you call, because in some countries they call it red top, green top.
Low fat milk.
Low fat milk. So it should be low fat milk, which will suffice most of the needs of the body.
Or they can cook the milk. We have the recipe of Sheer Pak. So we call it spiced milk on our video. Cooking it with water.
Then there are some other gifts of nature like grapes, which are available here. We can have grapes in natural form, or we can have dried grapes. What is munakka?
Raisins.
Raisins. And
Black currant munakka. Black currants. Currant is different. So black raisins. Okay.
So we can have these easily available food items to add into our diet so as to face the consequence of Grishma Rutu and consequence of our sins which we are about to do. In the next part of my speech, I would like to say a few lines, because I had been in Middle East many years. Have you heard about the religious fast which the Middle East people are doing?
Ramazan.
Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we are in a cultural gathering, okay, and a scientific gathering. So keeping aside all the other things related to that, what I am trying to say is, has anybody some idea what is ideally recommended in Ramazan? Which is nothing but a Grishma Rutucharya, which is nothing but a seasonal regime for summer season. And they are not allowed to eat when the sun is there in the sky. Has anybody idea about it? Anybody heard about it? Why? Because it's simple science put in different terminology, that if the sun is so intense outside, you are prone to perspirate a lot. That means your heat of the body will be out. So who will be there to digest the food? So you're not able to digest this food. But if a medical doctor says it, it will be less valued. Sorry for being a bit harsh. If a medical doctor says this, medical doctor of any geographical region, any religion says this, it will be less valued. But if a religious leader says this, it will be greatly valued, and doesn't matter, it helps the mankind. So please give it a thought why it must have been added there, and why the so-called Diwali rituals. I hope most of you have heard about Diwali, which is the greatest Indian celebration, which is celebrated in winter seasons. So in Diwali or similar celebrations in different parts of the globe, a lot of sweets are allowed to be consumed, and there is a part of the year when the nature doesn't allow mankind, doesn't matter of which race, which religion, which citizenship, which passport, doesn't matter. If there is hot and dry outside, we are unable to digest the food, and if it is too cold outside, our hunger goes up, and we must eat heavy food, which may be Vedika. In some other sanghas to follow will include Shishira Rutucharya,
Yes.
that is winter regime. But so to say, this is so simple, excluding us, all animals know the message of nature, and that's why they generally don't fall sick, generally speaking. And why I said generally, because in last couple of years, we have started corrupting our pets, right? We eat different food items not suitable for the season. We compel them to have similar food, and that's why we need veterinary doctors. So the ideal situation of the society should be, forget about the veterinary doctors, but there should be less doctors and more healthy people,
Beautiful.
which is the aim of Ayurveda. So in the future gatherings, you will have a chance to know philosophy of Ayurveda in more details. You will have a chance to know how we cannot overcome. There is no race between we and nature, because nature has to win finally. But how we can adjust with the natural changes, with simple changes, cost-effective changes, less expensive changes, and simplest is many of them they are free of cost changes in our lifestyle, so we can face the problems of the nature. If anybody has some query, I am there to include.
Any questions?
By the time the questions arise, because I have been in academics for 10 plus years, so there is a risk factor. I want that if I start speaking, it will be more minutes. But by the time questions start, I will just conclude my speech by saying that it has been clearly quoted in the Vedic literature. I hope most of you have heard about Vedic wisdom or Vedic literature, that the seasons, and particularly the transaction period of the seasons, are you getting me what I am trying to say? Means when the spring is over and the summer is starting, or when the summer is over and the monsoon is starting, depending upon the geographical region. But it has been clearly quoted that the transactions of the seasons are like the mouths of death. I'll repeat, they are the mouths of death. That means all of us, not only human beings, all of us, all living individuals are at risk to have one or the other health problem. Like you must have experienced fall here. We in India, we don't have this style of fall, but it is, in other words, it is a response given by these plants to the changes of the weather. For example, spring, everybody knows, and most of us love spring, the blossom and whatnot. It is a response given by the living individual to the nature. What about us, the most evolved, the most advanced, the smartest on the globe animal? Do we really respond to the nature?
Yeah, by sneezing away.
So please give it a thought. We are here to give further directives if you want.
This is very good probing, that we the smartest, what is our response? Beautiful. You have a question from Francine?
So many elderly people complain of constipation. Is that because of being on so many medications in this country when they're older?
You are saying exactly what we are discussing. I'll try to explain. According to Ayurveda, being older necessarily is being dry compared to the early age, compared to childhood and younghood. So anyway, the dryness is increased. And what you just said, that if that particular individual is on some medicines, modern Western medicines, heat is likely to increase in most of the cases. So what we were discussing for about last half an hour, heat and dryness increases in such individuals, and that's why they tend to get constipated more frequently.
And often in this country, as people get older, unfortunately they are advised to stay away from all kinds of fats. So they have no unctuousness or oiliness in their food of the healthy kind. So they are having very depleted foods, lot of medication, and natural growing dryness. So it's a prescription for constipation.
Should I add something? As Sunyaji rightly mentioned, about fats, there has been injustice with the fat, if I may say so, because of the increasing knowledge about fats we are getting. Now we have started, we means the medical fraternity in general, and because of the internet and all of us are doctors nowadays. Now the people have started talking about fats, those kill, and fats, those heal. I mean the healing fats and the killing fats. But how many of you have some idea about the best fat, which I would say, that is the ghee made up of butter, that is unsalted butter, which I already mentioned. The Indian rituals already use ghee, or you can call it clarified butter, doesn't matter, and you can make it here. You can go to the mall, get unsalted butter, and you can do it. Or I think Vedika students have already done it. So what I'm trying to say is, I will stick to the same line because this is preliminary and first interaction between us. But what does the nature is suggesting us? All the other fats will go bad if they are put outside the refrigerator. The problem is we put everything in the refrigerator nowadays. But suppose you take a dozen of fats, different kinds of fats, olive oil, sesame oil, mustard oil, and whatever fat you can have, including meat, and you put it on a table, for example this table, not put in a cooling plant, and just keep on observing. Can you guess what will happen? I think it's not difficult. The nature will give its message. All other fats, excluding ghee, will go bad in some stipulated time, right? They will go bad, then the smell will change, then even the form will change, and then it will be horrible smelling. So you will not even dare to go there and smell. But it will be the ghee which will be there with a very few changes in it, but which can last for, now excluding Vedika students, I want to have feedback. Any guess how long the ghee will last? Vedika students, please excuse, because you probably know it. 10 years? What is the expiry of ghee? Any guess?
It's like fine wine.
Sorry?
It's like fine wine. The
Fine
older it
wine.
is, the better the quality.
Yes. So she said there is no expiry to ghee, provided if it's pure ghee, prepared with all the good precautions. In India, believe me or not, in the past there were warfares. In every geographical region, the history is of wars, right? There was no antiseptic available. Please never forget. No antiseptic available. Then no band-aid or similar thing covering wounds was available, and still the soldiers were successfully overcoming the wounds. Why? Because the ghee, old ghee, and old means 100 years old, rarely 1000 years old ghee used to be put in the wounds. What I am trying to say, we are not here to discuss surgery in Ayurveda, but what I am trying to say is, this is a clear message from the nature that ghee is a sort of fat that will never go bad. So Grishma is a season, summer is a season which is marked after dryness, so it demands anxiousness. It's up to you to decide which anxiousness you will be using. So to say, pork has anxiousness into it, which I haven't tested. Beef has anxiousness in it, which I am not supposed to taste.
Lard, animal lard.
And so many other meat items, fish items, they have some oiliness, anxiousness in it. But what happens to it if you don't freeze them, if you don't refrigerate them, is the message of the nature. It will be only ghee which will overcome the seasonal changes. So ghee lasts long. If you really want to last long, ghee is the keyword for summer season.
And what is interesting is that in America we made I Can't Believe It's Butter, which also doesn't go bad and has a shelf life of many, many years. The only difference is that ghee, being completely homogeneous to our body and our tissues, is recognized by it, broken down by it, utilized by it, and I Can't Believe It's Butter with its hydrogenated fat becomes a liability to the system. So these are some very important points which are coming from our dialogue about the need for oiliness or unctuousness in this season, and a key message that Dr. Mandar is giving is which one you want, the one that is healthy or the one that is short lifespan. Any other question? Otherwise we'll move into yoga. Yes?
I would like to know how much ghee can be consumed per day, and how do we know the ghee, if it's not prepared at home, is pure or recommended?
Okay, I'll comment on the first question initially, because I'm not going to give you the answer, number one. Why? Because Ayurveda is not a generalized medicine. So Ayurveda doesn't give a fixed numerical which is expected to be consumed by every individual. Why? Because every individual has different capacity to digest, that is digestive fire. Every individual has different constitution, what we call Prakruti, means Vata dominant, Pitta dominant, etc. Means every individual is different. Ayurveda respects every individual. Every individual is different, his or her needs are different. Accordingly, the amount of ghee to be consumed will be changing. So, means at this juncture, I will not give any numerical because of this reason. But so to say, without getting scared of the so-called cholesterol and the associated risks, up to 2 spoons ghee, if every individual of this gathering consumes per day, I think it will be risk-free.
And I think the best way to find out is to utilize our wellness clinic or become our student and learn the back end of who you are and what you need, what season, what's appropriate, everything changes. Another way I change fats is that if we are using other, like canola oil, which is rapeseed oil, which is used in rocket fuel, and it's being sold like as food, to us. So we are using that oil that must be doing so much collateral damage to us. So we don't have to drip our cooking in that ghee, but reasonable, safe amount, using it as a substitute, because we do not fear cholesterol from it. And then we have this 2 teaspoons as an approximation, and then you can come closer and closer to it.
What about cheeses and paneers?
Cheeses and paneer, they are both fermented. But for paneer has been categorized, even though it is fermented, it is from milk, cow milk. And when Agni is very good, when person is healthy, it can give strength. However, in this season, it would be considered heavy, guru. And so drinking milk boiled appropriately with right spices, or with the fat removed, or cooked with more water and cooked down to consistency, would then gradually make it more palatable, because we always have to do a vichara, contemplation on this is good for me, but can I digest it in these 2 months? That's a very important contemplation. This asana is basically a dhyanasana, means it is a asana that influences the mind state, which is also very important for the improvement of Agni and its processes, digestion. I won't go too much details into it for time, But all I can say is that after every meal, if we sit like this for 3 to 5 minutes, the toes are joined to each other. And
Everyone can feel free to stand.
there is normal breath. There is a Vajra Nadi, there is a very special Nadi which connects her sacral region all the way to her brain region. There is some very important flow of information, and in the process the digestion improves. It is very good for all kinds of digestive conditions, including indigestion, acid reflux, and then constipation. And as such, from a health point of view, make it a habit to be quiet like this after eating, because sometimes after eating we just jump to the next activity. And by being poised in this asana, this has a positive impact upon the digestive channels. And like I said, it is mainly for the mind. It influences the mind, which you will learn the deeper aspects of this asana in our Monday class. We have a core collection of 20 asanas from my grandfather, which he liked the entire community to know about back in India, and they are just the best asanas for people to know, and very deep, esoteric, from physical health, mental health to the spiritual well-being of each asana. So this Vajrasana, though it looks really simple, has impact at physical level, mental level, existential level. It enables some evolution of consciousness from the lower chakra to the higher chakras. But for our purpose, we are using it as what will you do right after eating a meal. And if you have the luxury of going into this asana and you are not eating in a busy cafeteria or something, then this would be a great asana to be in Vajrasana. And another asana we want to show you, we'll only show you 2 asanas today, but these will be 2 important asanas. I also want to make a point that nowadays we want to learn more and more asanas, and we just go on learning asanas. But in India, and Mandarji will agree to me, in the sadhu tradition, few asanas can take us to where we want to go. Done well, regularly,
Even a single asana
single asana can lead you to Siddhi, lead you to where you need to go. I have a condition which is trying to make me a hunchback, but one asana Siddhi I have is of Bhujangasana. That asana makes me like a cobra with many lives. Okay, it doesn't allow me to go down. So few asanas done regularly, mindfully, deeply, with devotion can take you where you want to go. So now next one is Pavan Muktasana. It releases the Apana Vayu, and it is very, very important. This should be done empty stomach, mind you. Please don't do it after a meal. Do one leg at a time first. So when she is doing this, she is exhaling. If you have neck pain, don't raise your neck. And then she's breathing normally at this position. And then while inhaling, she unfolds again. Okay? Now she takes a break with 2 or 3 normal breaths. The focus is on the second and the first chakra here, and then the next one. Try to bring your chin as close, and the focus always is on the lower chakras, the lower 2. Sometimes if there is gas built up, there will be gas release. So this is the half asana done with one leg. Come back to normal position. Now we will display to you the full asana. This should be done at least 3 times if we are having constipation before meals, and it will within a week start showing you a difference. Nice and gentle, easy hugging of the knees. If you have knee problems, etc., it may only come halfway, but still this asana deeply releases apana. It has again 3-leveled benefits which we'll discuss in Monday night class. Come back.
Before meals, right? Is it? Before meals.
The food. And this should be done at least 3 to 6 times, but 3 is minimum. So this is the Pavanmuktasana. Thank you, Sarah.
And then this is our modified.
Yeah, show them the modified also. You cannot reach it. So just do this much. Do what you can, and then slowly you will notice that your body is changing and accommodating. After that, just be quiet for a little while and don't jump and start eating. Slowly. Thank you, Sarah. These 2 asanas can bring about some relief.